Namaste. In this talk, we will discuss chapter 10 of the Stri Dharma Paddhatih, which is about the ritual sipping of water from the palm of the hand called Ācamanam or Ācamanam. A very, very small quantity of water is sipped directly from the palm in this process, and it is a must to be done before any ritual or puja. Not only that, before any activity and after any activity that disturbs the vayus in the body or the tridoshas, Ācamanam has to be done. The Shastras state that we have to do Ācamanam before and after attending nature's call, before and after bathing, before and after consuming meals, and so on. A list of the activities is given in chapter 3 of the Stri Dharma Paddhatih and can be referred. There are different procedures of doing the Ācamanam based on the Sampradaya. For example, those who follow the Puranas, the men of the first three Varnas specifically, they will chant the names of Narayana into the water before sipping it. Then there is the way of the Tantra and the Agama based on the Shaiva and the Vaishnava Agama texts. Then there is again a different way of Ācamanam based on the Shrauta followers of, that is, those who do the Vedic rituals. What we are going to discuss in the Stri Dharma Paddhatih, what is given in this book, is the Smarta way. Smarta means one who follows the Smritis. Smritis means the Dharma Shastra texts such as Manu Smriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Parashara Smriti, and so on. So what we are going to discuss is what is given in these texts, the Smritis, the Smarta way of Ācamanam. We will look at the verses one by one and try to understand what it means. There are only around 5 or 6 verses in this chapter, but it's an extremely important ritual with the intention of preventing all sorts of physical and mental ailments. That is what the followers of this practice say. So we will try to understand why this might be true. The very first verse. Shaucha nantara machamana maha devalaha ityeva madbhi rajanu prakshalya charanau prithak hastau cha manibandabhyam kuryadachamanam tataha. Devala ordains Ācamanam after Shaucha. One should wash the feet and knees separately with water, followed by washing the hands and wrists, and then perform Ācamanam. In the previous talk, in the chapter on Shauchachara, we discussed the importance of why, after relieving oneself, one must wash the genitals and then the legs, that is from the knee to the feet and the hands. And then Ācamanam must be done. In this book, we have given some more reasons for why the hands and the feet have to be washed, and this has to do with the presence of different marmas. At the knee, at the ankles, at the feet, and even the wrists and the hand, there are some crucial marma points which, when we wash with water or gently massage with sand or black gram powder, as given in the Shastras, when we do these activities, more prana is sent to these marmas. These marma points play an important role in regulating the apana vayu, which governs all the reproductory and excretory functions in the body. So by washing the hands and the feet, we set right a lot of the disturbances that may have happened during the process of attending nature's call. After that, we do the Ācamanam. Now, in the next verse, the process for doing Ācamanam is described. Ācamana prakara maha Yajnavalkyah Antarjanu Shuchau Deshe Upavishta Udangmukhah Pragva Brahmena Tirthena Dvijo Nityamupasprishyediti. Yajnavalkya states about the method of performing Ācamanam. With hands between the knees in a clean spot, seated facing the north or the east, a dvija, that means a twice-born man, ought daily to perform Ācamanam by sipping water through the Brahma Tirtha. This is the part of the palm below the thumb. In this verse, the process that is given is primarily for men of the first three varnas, but since it is there in the Stri Dharma, a lot of these things are relevant to women as well. So the first thing is the position in which one has to sit. Rishi Yajnavalkya has suggested that we sit in such a way that the hands are placed between the knees. So this is a reference to the squatting position or the Malasana. In this position, the Apana Vayu and the Prana Vayus are regulated and come back to their natural states. So this is the ideal position in which to sit. And then they say that we face either the north or the east. These are the auspicious directions to face, as known to most Hindus. And then water is sipped from the Brahma Tirtha. Brahma Tirtha is the part of the hand which is just below the thumb. There are other texts which specify the quantity of water to be taken for Ācamanam, how to hold the hand so that the water is collected in a particular part of the palm, and what these different tirthas of the hand mean. We'll just delve a little bit into that to understand the proper way of doing Ācamanam. So the quantity of water suggested is just as much as is enough to completely submerge 1 black gram. So 1 tiny urad dal, if you place it in the palm, how much water is needed to submerge that? That is the quantity of water for Ācamanam to be taken by a Brahmana man. For the man of Kshatriya Varna, that quantity reduced by 1/4 has to be taken. For the persons of the Vaishya Varna, the quantity of the Kshatriya Varna's Ācamanam water reduced again by 1/4. That is, half the quantity prescribed for the Brahmana has to be taken by the person of the Vaishya Varna. And finally, when it comes to women and the Shudra Varna, we have to further reduce it by 1/4 of the quantity of the Vaishya Varna, which is essentially 3/4 less than what is sipped by the Brahmana. So by the time it comes to women in Shudra Varna, it's a very, very tiny drop of water that we have to take in. Most of the texts, as we will see later, say that women don't need to sip. The men of the first three Varnas have to sip water 3 times and then wipe the lips twice. And it may vary based on their sampradaya. But for women in the Shudra Varna, it is enough if we just wipe the lips once. That is what the Shastras say. Now, how do we hold the hand while taking the Ācamanam water? The position suggested by other texts is that the 3 middle fingers should be kept together and the little finger and the thumb should be held slightly apart. In this position, when you hold it like this, water accumulates at this portion of the palm when we hold it. What is so special about this portion of the palm? This is the part where the Tala Hrida Marma exists. Now, to exactly locate the Tala Hrida Marma, fold the right hand into a fist. And the portion where the middle finger touches when it is bent, that is the Tala Hrida Marma. So you see, it is not exactly the center of the palm where we must hold the water. It is slightly to the side. That's where the Tala Hrida Marma is present, and that's why we hold the hand in this manner. The Tala Hrida Marma plays a very crucial role not just in supplying water to the prana, but also in regulating some of the important vayus in the body. It connects to the heart via the Vyana Vayu, to the lungs via the Prana Vayu, and the diaphragm via the Udana Vayu. And the functions of all these three important Vayus get regulated. That is why it is said that the Talahrida Marma calms the mind, reduces the emotional stress, and helps us feel more tranquil. The next is, from where do we sip the water? So the Shastras have written that during the rites done for Piturs, ancestors, men have to sip water from the Pitur Tirtha. That is this part of the hand. Then when the rites are done for Prajapati, it is to be sipped from here. This is the Prajapati Tirtham. So Pitur Tirtham is at the base of the index finger, Prajapati Tirtham at the base of the little finger. And any of the rites for Devatas, we have to sip water from the tips of the hand, called the Devatirtham. And in case of Ācamanam, from the base of the thumb, called the Brahmatirtham. So this is what is suggested in this text also. But some men also sip the Ācamanam water and then wipe the lips using the Devatirtham portion. You can do so, or you can use the base of the thumb to wipe the lips, especially for women and the Shudra Varna, because here there is a marma called the Manibandha marma. And this marma has a connection to the reproductive region, and it goes a long way in regulating the Apana Vayu. So women and the Shudra Varna have to just take that water and hold it at the Talahrida marma so that it is charged with the correct vibrations suitable to their body, and then just wipe it. They can sip it if the quantity is slightly more. One sip can be taken and then wiped. Now let's look at what is the quality of the water that we have to use for Ācamanam. Ācamanartha mudakam vishinashti parasharaha atbihi samruddhrita bhistu hinabhihi fena budbudhaiha vahnina cha na taptabhirakshara bhirupasprishediti. Parashara states about the kind of water to be used for Ācamanam. Water that has no froth or bubbles, is not touched by fire, that is, it is not boiled or heated, and is not salty, should be used for Ācamanam. Visheshamaha prachetaha Ratravavikshitenapi Shuddhirukta Manishina Udake Naturanam Cha Tathoshne Noshnapayinamiti. Pracheta cites special rules. Water that is not kept or stored during the night is deemed to be fresh. Those who are suffering from sickness caused due to heat can perform Ācamanam using hot or warm water. So the water used for Ācamanam is not to quench the thirst because the quantity is so small. Then what does it do is that it carries the appropriate vibration suited to different individuals to reset the body's natural vibrational state. Therefore, the water must not be tampered with in any way. We should not use water that has been heated or boiled, water that is salty or has froth or bubbles. However, if the person is unwell, then slightly warm water is permitted to be used by the Shastras. Now, there is another verse from Yama which says that instead of the right hand, if a person does the Ācamanam using the left palm, then it is equivalent to sipping alcohol. This is because of the understanding that prana enters to the left hand, goes to the heart, and comes out through the right hand. So anything that you put into the left palm, the prana from that will be taken away, will be absorbed by the hand. Anything that takes away prana is equivalent to alcohol. Whereas when put it on the right hand, that is when prana from the heart will flow into the water. Again, The Devi Bhagavata Purana specifies that during the process of Ācamanam, if the left hand does not touch the right hand, then the water does not become pure. This is because if prana has to flow in this circuit of the body, the circuit must be closed. And the circuit is closed when the left hand and the right hand are touching each other. That is why to make any offering in puja also, we never stand straight and offer with one hand only. The left hand must always touch any part of the right hand before the offering is made to make sure that the offering carries prana. Similarly, for Ācaman also, we must touch the left hand to the right hand and then sip the water and wipe the lips. Now we'll come to the last verse on this chapter, which is the most critical verse, which will tell us the whole story of Ācamanam. The verse is, Yajnavalkyaha hritkantatalu gabhischa yatha sankhyam dvijatayaha shuddha yeram stri cha shudrascha sakrit sprishtabhirantataha. Yajnavalkya says, Brahmanas and Dvijas, that is Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, become pure when water touches the heart, the throat, and palate of the mouth, respectively. Women and Shudras become pure immediately when the water just touches once. It is not very clear what the water should touch once, because some translations say that for women and Shudra Varna, it is enough if it touches the lips once. Some say that they can take a small sip of water which touches the palate of the mouth once. Both things are all right. The confusion is when we don't understand the science. When we delve deep into why this rule exists, many things will become clear. This particular verse is saying that when a Brahmana sips the Ācamanam water, it should touch the heart. This is possible if, while gulping the water, throws the head back and sips it in such a way that instead of trickling down the throat, the water is straightaway swallowed. If one is sensitive enough, then when water is sipped in the way of the Brahmana, we can feel a sudden cooling sensation in the heart. This is important for the Brahmana men to practice, because when we understand Varna as different frequencies of vibration, we will realize that the base frequency for a Brahmana starts from the heart. The Anahata and upwards are the natural frequencies for a man of the Brahmana Varna. So Ācamanam brings his frequency back to his foundational level at the heart. To understand these aspects clearly, one must study the book Varna Vidya, or at least watch the 2 videos in this channel titled The Advanced Science of Varna Part 1 and Part 2, which will make it clear as to why we are talking about Varna as different frequencies of vibration. The regular understanding of Varna as occupation, as social categories, caste, class, cannot help us understand the Shastras. So if the Shastras have to be understood, a more profound and subtle understanding of Varna is required, and that can be known by watching the talks on Varna Vidya in this channel. Now, when it comes to the Kshatriya, Yajnavalkya Rishi has said that he should sip the water such that it touches the throat. If we've understood Varna Dharma as vibrational frequency, then for the Kshatriya Varna, his range of operation is from the navel to the throat, covering the Manipura Chakra, Anahata Chakra, and Vishuddhi Chakra. Now, when he sips water in such a way that it trickles down the throat, there are subtle channels called the Kloma Udaka Vahastrotas. Kloma means pancreas, Udaka means water. In Ayurveda, it is understood that water is not digested, it is absorbed. Especially when we are sipping such a small quantity of water, the intention is to absorb the vibration. So the vibration of the water is absorbed by the Kloma Udakavaha stotras at the throat and carried to the kloma, which means the pancreas. So if we are sensitive, when we sip water in the way of the Kshatriya by allowing it to trickle down the throat, we will experience vibrations in the abdomen. This is how the Kshatriya Varna comes into his natural frequency of vibration. For the Vaishya Varna, it is prescribed that he has to sip water such that it touches the roof of the mouth called the palate or talu in Sanskritam. When he puts the water into the tongue and then moves the tongue upwards, it will touch the palate. The palate has another form of the Udakavaha Stotras called the Talu Udakavaha Stotras, which carries it down to the Swadhisthana Chakra because that is the natural frequency for the Vaishyavarna. There is also a minor chakra in that region at the roof of the mouth called the Lalana Chakra, which is known to have an energetic connection to the Swadhisthana Chakra. When it comes to women in the Shudra Varna, they can sip it through and make it touch the palate because Swadhisthana is a natural vibration, especially for women of reproductive age. If they don't do it, even if they simply touch the water with the base of the thumb to the lips and wipe the lips once, that is also enough because the lips have a direct nerve connection to the reproductive regions and excretory regions of the Mooladhara. That is how women in the Shudra Varna come to their natural frequency by sipping water lightly, if not even just touching it to the lips once will do. To practically know the effect of these, those who are sensitive will know when they sip it. If they can sit in a meditative state and observe, there will be frequencies of vibration at the specific regions as appropriate to that varna. If not, just observe after something like, say, sneezing, because sneezing is an activity which really agitates the vayus. After sneezing, if we perform Ācamanam in the way prescribed for our varna or gender in case of women, we will see how quickly the mind and the body comes back into a state of balance. So these things have to be known through experience. Even if we don't have the experience because we are not subtle enough, still it is good to follow the words of the Shastras in good faith. The process, or rather the journey of writing the Stri Dharma Paddhatih reached a very transformational phase when it came to this last verse on Ācamanam. Because the then existing narratives on Varna as caste or as jati, as occupation or social class did not even come close to explaining this verse, and in fact many other verses that we will come across in the Stri Dharma Paddhatih. So then the writing of the Stri Dharma book had to be kept aside for a period of 1 year to delve deeper into what Varna itself means. By the grace of the Divine Mother, this profound knowledge of Varna was made available in the book Varna Vidya and should be studied by anyone who's keenly trying to follow the Shastras and live a life in accordance with Dharma. Just as there was a need to pause even while writing this book, because that is how profound a single verse in the Shastra can be. Even when we are studying the Stri Dharma or trying to incorporate it into our lifestyle, There will be many moments where it would seem that it is easier to manipulate the Shastras somehow to suit our lifestyle. But the correct thing is always to simplify our lifestyle and bring it in alignment with the Shastras. The Shastras are not the opinion of one religious or spiritual leader. It is the word of the Vedas itself, and it has been confirmed by hundreds of rishis of the Hindu Parampara. It is the shortest and the safest path, not just for spiritual progress, but also for good health and well-being. So it is worth it, even if we have to make some big changes in our life to come in alignment with the Shastras. May all those who are attempting to follow the Shastras receive blessings of the Divine Mother and the Rishis to be able to have the courage to follow the Stri Dharma. Shri Matre Namaha.